Assalamu alaikum everybody. Jazakallah khair everybody for coming on such a lovely day. But once we start this lecture, you're not going to worry about everything out there, honestly. You're just going to want to go to Jannah, where everything will be much more beautiful, much more better weather, everything. Okay, and basically we're going to start off with the word paradise, which is an English word at the moment. But originally, did you know, paradise was the original word for Jannah in ancient language. Para means a wall, and dice means a green garden. And from the word dice, did you know, came the word dos, which is in Arabic, firdos. Isn't that amazing? And from dice also des came. You know when in Urdu and Punjabi we say apna des. This is our own homeland. So it's quite interesting that word paradise is an original word for Jannah. So who can tell me what the word Jannah means now? Any ideas?
Gardens.
Gardens? But there's another word. It's very specific, the word Jannah. It means unseen garden. Unseen garden. Did you know? Okay, and did you know that Islam was the very first religion in which detailed descriptions of Jannah were revealed? The very first religion. Why is that? Why was it revealed in Islam and it's not in the previous religions? Good, excellent. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ went up there and he came back and he actually told us literally that there is a place there called Jannah. If you go through, I'm going to go through the timeline and we'll see what the other nations believed in as well. And also, what else? Why else is Jannah the most described in Islam and not in the other religions? One is the Prophet himself went there, he came back, he told us everything that was there. What's the other one?
To inspire the people to do the good deeds.
Good, to inspire Muslims especially. Why? Because we are the chosen nation. Did you know? We are the chosen nation. We are going to be the first ones to enter paradise. So we are and the most numbers, did you know, that will enter paradise will be Muslims as well. So let us now look at the previous religions. If we look at Judaism, Jannah is hardly mentioned at all. In fact, the new Jews, they do not even believe in paradise at all. It is mentioned very, very little in the Torah. And then if we look at Christianity, it is mentioned a little bit more, but people do not take it literally. You ask somebody about paradise, a Christian person, they don't take it literally. They think, yeah, we've heard about it, but we don't know if it's real. And this is the reason that when Islam came, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ actually went up there and came back to tell people it is literal. There is really a place up there called Jannah. And did you know that Jannah was actually made when Allah made the world? And it is there at the moment. Okay, it is actually there at the moment. The prophets are flitting to and fro their graves, and there are other forms of people there, for example, the martyrs and children who were stillborn or miscarriages after the age of 5 months, all of that kind of stuff. We will talk about all of that when we go up and we have a look. And did you know that paradise is mentioned 77 times in the Quran, which is equal to the amount of times that hellfire is mentioned? So it's very, very interesting the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually done equilibrium in the Quran, equally. Okay, and remember that in the religion before, in Christianity, lots of people were not taking it literally that there is a paradise. So when Islam came, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it one of the Iman Mufassils. You cannot be a Muslim in Islam if you do not believe in a heaven or a hell. Because when we say that the belief in life after death, which is the 7th Imam Mufassal, we actually mean heaven and hell as well. And this is why it's there, because in the religion before, people were not taking it literally. So it is very important that we do believe in it. Even though when you listen to some of this, some of it will sound make-believe. It will, okay? And did you know that we will never be entirely satisfied in this dunya? One, we have made our covenant up there. When Allah made us, we promised Him we will only worship you and nobody else. And the second thing is that we were actually made in Jannah, in that atmosphere. Our father, Adam alayhi salam, was made in Jannah. We are meant to be up there. That is our final destination. So we will never ever quite be completely satisfied on earth, because we were not made really for this dunya. In fact, did you know that for the believers this dunya is like hellfire? Did you know that? Because we want to be in Jannah. Now some of you naturally, when you go out in the sunshine and there's green land and you're near a lake, you feel at peace. And there's actually journals to prove that mental health decreases when you are in natural surroundings. People in the city, living in a city, have more mental health than people living in the countryside. It's because of this reason. Did you know that? Because we like our surroundings to be like Jannah. And Jannah is our final destination. So when we look at all of our soul journey, there are 6 stages to our soul. The very first one is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually made us, right in His presence, when Adam alayhi salam was made. The second stage of our soul is when we are in our mother's wombs. The third stage of our soul is right now in this dunya, while we are here. The fourth stage is the life of the barzakh, which we already discussed a couple of months ago and 2 weeks ago in another place. Then the resurrection on Judgment Day is our 5th stage of our soul. And the last stage of our soul, the final destination, is going, inshallah, to Jannah or hellfire. But we're not going to talk about hellfire today. We'll keep the mood lovely. Okay? And we know that the criteria for Jannah is that we are good, and our books will be like this. Basically, a book full of roses. All lovely things that we have done. So it says here, he who's given his record in his right hand, he'll be judged with an easy account and return to his people in happiness. That is Surah Al-Inshiqaq, chapter 84, verses 7 to 9, the sundering. Okay? And that is how, even in the life of the barzakh, when we talked about the soul going all the way to the up, do you remember we said that if our book is collected from us in Ilyun, which is the highest part of Jannatul Firdaus, we know we are going to go to Jannah. That is our inkling. So this is on the Day of Judgment. If your book is given to you in your right hand, you know you're going to Jannah. Okay? And we also know that that book will then be weighed up, and if all your life was in dunya, everything, which honestly I can see our people running after, big time. We have to do this, oh we have to do this, oh we've got housework to do, we've got this to do, we've got this to do. You will leave all that behind, because what Allah is going to look at is, what did you do for Him? This is what will be the biggest waiting for the people of Jannah. So this is what Allah is saying in the Quran, for the people who are running after the dunya, but you prefer the life of the world, although the hereafter is better and more lasting. That's Surah Al-A'la, verses 16 to 17. And then the people whose scale would be heavy with Allah's deeds is things like, the weighing on that day is the true weighing, as for those whose scales are heavy, they are the successful. That's Surah Al-Araf, verses 7 to 8, the heights. Okay? And who can tell me some heavy weights which will carry on weight on your scales? Yes?
Charity that you're giving?
Good.
Good deeds.
Yes? What did you say?
Good deeds.
Yeah, but I'm talking about specific good deeds, not just any old good deeds. Yes.
Salah,
Charity.
Yeah. What is all of that? Charity, Salah. What is all of that collectively?
obligations.
The 5 pillars is the answer I'm looking for. The 5 pillars carry very, very heavy weighting. They are the 5 obligatory things of Islam. They carry huge weighting. Okay? And then any other ibadah you do for Allah outside of those 5 things. Okay? What will bring this right down? Not just running after dunya, but there are other 2 main things which I actually see in our own Asian community doing, especially within the Asian subcontinent. Yes. Shirk, number 1. Shirk is one of the sins that will never be forgiven no matter what. And that is written in the Quran. So shirk will bring that right down that scale. Sorry, right up. Okay? I mean, this is going to be heavy, isn't it? Okay? Well, actually down, yes, that way down. Okay, what else? Apart from shirk, what else do people, especially from the Asian subcontinent, do? And you hear me moaning about it day and night. Bid'ah. Number 1, bid'ah. What kinds of bid'ah? The Prophet's birthday, khatams, everything. Birthdays, anniversaries, all pagan-related festivals. All festivals related to paganism, which is the worship of many gods, which is the same as Hinduism. You might not celebrate Diwali, but all the other things, a lot of the things we're doing, there is so much bid'ah. Look into it yourself. It is related to other religions that worship many, many gods. So very, very important. Okay? And did you know other people can do what they like? Your deeds are your own. Only you will be judged for your own deeds. Forget about everybody else. Don't copy anybody else. Okay? So the people who will be going to hellfire, who are Muslims, for example, only the ones who will not be doing shirk, there will be one last rescuer. Who is that rescuer person who will come and help those Muslims who have not done shirk but will be destined to go to hellfire? Who knows?
Jesus.
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not Jesus. Okay, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will come, and he will be the intercessor for Muslims, and he will take out the people from hellfire who didn't do any shirk, who are Muslims, and he will take them into Jannah behind him. But those people that he takes out will be of a specific kind that we do not know. So we cannot rely and say, oh, we don't do any shirk, we'll carry on with the bid'ah, it doesn't matter, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will take us out. We do not know that. Because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who will decide. And we don't know the criteria either. Okay? So the first person to enter paradise will be Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, followed by other prophets, and then the believers from the nation of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then followed by the believers from other nations. And when we say the believers from other nations, we mean, for example, in the days of Christianity when Islam had not come yet, those believers, okay? And the believers from the Jewish times, from Moses was here, when Christianity had not come yet, or when Islam had not come yet. But you are expected to follow the religion that was the last to come down while you are here on this dunya. That is what is written in the Hadiths very, very clearly. Okay, so there's our curtain opening. And the Muslims are the last to come, but will be the foremost on the day of resurrection. And that is a promise. And I am now going to put a quick video on for a recap before we all go to Jannah and have a look inside. Okay?
Resurrection is the next milestone after the present creation is terminated. It is an essential part of the Muslim belief. The trumpet sound is heard the second time. All the dead people from Prophet Adam to the last day will be brought back to life, and this process is known as resurrection. All the data of our deeds will be retrieved from the registers after resurrection, so that we see and acknowledge what each one of us did during our lifetime on earth. each deed has a weight. The example of a weighing balance has been given to weigh all our good deeds and the bad deeds. Any deed as small as an atom's weight will be weighed. Such is the accuracy of the judgment procedure. Among the good deeds, there are both light and heavy deeds. Among the bad deeds, there are light and heavy deeds. It seems there will be a matrix of deed names with their weights. Then he whose balance of good deeds will be found heavy will be in a life of good pleasure and satisfaction. Only Allah knows the weights of these deeds. However, we can project the relative weights of some of the deeds we know. For example, the 5 pillars of Islam are considered deeds with very heavy weight. Muslim brotherhood, unity, helping Muslims who are crying for help, are very heavy good deeds. There are other numerous good deeds like marrying, raising a family, building a mosque, doing justice, education, and so on. Saying Assalamu alaikum is a simple good deed and has its own weight. Now let us look at some bad deeds. Shirk, worshipping more than one God, adding partners to God, is the greatest sin in Islam. It has the highest weight which may topple or offset the weight of all the good deeds. Interest transactions, adultery, cheating in business, murder, mischief, stealing, changing the religion of Islam or distorting it, rejecting Allah, and so on, have heavy weights. These weights, if added up, may offset the balance of good deeds. However, it must be noted that the final judgment is up to Him. He would forgive anyone He pleases. But we must not take any chances. We must pray for His forgiveness. Sorting. On a mighty day, a day when all mankind will stand before the Lord of the worlds. Quran Surah 83. The people will be sorted into 3 categories on the day of judgment as per the Holy Quran. 1. The companions of the right hand. These are righteous people who will be happy. 2. The companions of the left hand. These are the evildoers who will be in great agony. 3. Those foremost in faith. They will be the nearest to Allah. The Holy Quran further states, anyone who is given his book in his right hand will be called to account with an easy reckoning and return joyfully to his people, while anyone who is given his book behind his back will appeal to be blotted out and will roast in the blaze. The judgment for each soul will be rendered by Allah only. However, after judgment is rendered to the sinners for hell, an appeal procedure will be adopted before Allah to forgive the sinners who basically believed in Him as one and only God with no partners. This procedure is known as intercession. As you may know, intercession will be done only on the day of judgment, after the judgment is given by the Almighty. Allah would have granted permission to some whose statements were acceptable to Him. Who will be the intercessor for the Muslim sinners? The Hadith answers this question very well. Allah's Apostle said, they will come to me, and I will ask my Lord's permission. And when I see Him, I will fall down in prostration to Him. And He will leave me in that state as long as He will, and then I will be addressed. Raise up your head, O Muhammad. Ask and your request will be granted, say, and your saying will be listened to. Intercede, and your intercession will be accepted. Then I will raise my head, and I will glorify and praise my Lord. With invocation He will teach me, and then I will intercede. Allah will fix a limit for me, only a certain type of people for whom I can intercede, and I will take them out of the hellfire and let them enter paradise. Sahih al-Bukhari, Volume 6, Hadith 3.
Okay, now this concept in Christianity that Jesus will forgive all our sins, that in a way we believe in as in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but that will only happen on the day of judgment. Okay, so we do not do all those things now and sin and think at the end that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will forgive all our sins. It's the same kind of concept, but the other difference is that we don't know, you see, if he will get forgiven or not. We do not know. If we will get forgiven or not, we don't know. We don't know the criteria, like they said in the video. Okay, after we've been told we are going to go to Jannah, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will lead all his nations to this beautiful, beautiful river, which runs all the way down all the 7 Jannahs. What is it called?
Al-Kawthar.
Al-Kawthar. And Al-Kawthar we have spoken about before when we did the marriage lecture of the Prophet. When his little child Qasim passed away, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this river and showed it to him when he went up to paradise and said that I've made you this river. So we're looking at Surah Al-Kawthar here. So he will drink from that river and he will give you drink as well to all his nation. Indeed, we have granted you Muhammad Al-Kawthar, that is in Quran, Surah Al-Kawthar 108, verse 1. But the whole of that surah, actually, which is the shortest surah in the Quran, is talking about Al-Kawthar. And then you will go towards Jannah, and Jannah is nowhere near this earth, nowhere near. First of all, there is the Samawatin, which is the 7 skies, and then Jannah is above all of that. So you can just see the very first sky. There are 7 of those, and then above all of that will be Jannah. Far, far away. Okay? And to get there, so it's a completely different place, which was actually made when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the earth. And the earth, don't forget, will be completely destroyed on the Day of Judgment. And this is the bridge that you will be passing over. This is the Sirat bridge. Now for the non-believers, that Sirat bridge will be the width of a hair. Okay? It will be a width of a hair, and it will be really difficult to cross it with the hooks and thorns, and people will be crawling over it. But with Muslims, the Sirat bridge will widen, and with the nur on your face, the light, that bridge will light up as you walk. Okay? The first prophet who will cross it with his nation will be I, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. That is in Hadith Bukhari. And it will be very, very easy to cross that bridge for Muslims. They will basically just swim across very, very easily. There will be no hindrance. And everybody has to cross that bridge. Underneath that bridge will be hellfire. And like I said, according to your deeds, you will cross it with ease. Okay? So crossing the Sirat bridge depends on everybody's light. Some will cross it in the twinkling of an eye. Some like lightning, some like a falling star, some like a running horse. That's Tabarani. Okay? And then when we cross the bridge, what will we see? We're doing this in specific order. You've crossed the bridge, what are you going to see next?
Jannah.
Before you even go in Jannah, what are you going to see?
The light.
The gate. Good, you're listening, well done. You're going to come across a big gate, okay? The gate of Jannah. It says, and those who fear the Lord will be led to the garden in crowds until, behold, they arrive there. Its gates will be opened and its keepers will say, peace be upon you. Basically, the keepers will greet you with salam. You've done well. Enter here to dwell therein. That is in Az-Zumar, the troops, chapter 39, verse 23. Remember, you'll be going in as troops. Now, the gate you will enter will be according to your deeds. So this is your quiz question. Which gate of Jannah is those who observe Sawm or fasting? What is the name of that gate? Yes. Good. Well done, Rayyan. So, Ustadha narrated that the Prophet said, if anyone testifies that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah alone, who has no partners, and Muhammad is his slave and his apostle, and paradise is true, Allah will admit him into paradise through any of its 8 gates he likes. That's in Bukhari and in Muslim. So there are 8 gates, and you will go in through the gate according to the good, best deed that you did. And you are correct, that gate is called Rayyan. There is a gate in paradise called Rayyan, and those who observe fast will enter through it on the day of resurrection, and none except them will enter through it. That is in Sahih al-Bukhari. So who knows some of the other gates' names? Let's put up one which we already know. Babul Rayyan. Babul means door, doesn't it? Gate. Who knows some more? What other good deeds have you done to get to Jannah? Come on, what other good deeds you've done to get to Jannah? Salah. So obviously there's going to be a Babul Salah, isn't there? There you go, Babul Salah. Okay? Who read their 5 times prayer on time? You will go through that gate. More gate names, please. Pardon? We've done that one already. Have we not done that one already? Zakat. Okay, so there will be one to do with charity, won't there? Okay. What else? Come on, what other good deeds have you done to get to Jannah? Yes? Right. I'm talking about the 5 pillars here. 5 pillars is number 1. The very first pillar of Islam is the belief in one God, the Shahada, is it not? The 5 pillars is what I need to know about. Okay? Hajj is there, Hajj is one, and Sadaqah is one. It's the 5 pillars you need to focus on. Okay? Babul Jihad is one, fasting we've already done. Sadaqah, Babul Sadaqah is another one. Those who frequently gave Sadaqah. We've got Babul Hajj, there you go, there's one of the 5 pillars. Those who observe their annual pilgrimage or have been and done it properly. Babul Iman is the other one. This door is reserved for the entry of those who by virtue of their faith are saved from reckoning and chastisement. And then we've got Babul Dhikr, other people who did dhikr. We did mention this one as well. I said when you enter Jannah, the 5 pillars, and after that any dhikr you did. Okay? And the other one is this one here. Babul Khadamin al-Bayd. And that one is all about, it's reserved for those who suppress their anger and forgive others. Okay? There are other gates. There is an Ayman gate, is I know a brother Ayman actually, and there is a gate for those who didn't need to do any of this, and they were sinless. They were born in Fitra and died in Fitra, and they can just go through that gate. So that will be reserved for some of the children, or other people, maybe prophets. Okay. It's mentioned in the Hadith of intercession. So let's now go in the gate, okay? Let's go inside that gate, and you will find that it is really, really big. It will take you 40 years to cross that gate. 40 years, that's how big it will be. But don't forget, the years up in Jannah may be seconds here. Remember the story of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he comes from down there, he spent ages up there, and it wasn't even a second here. His bed was still warm. So we don't know. So Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu said, we, present companion, asked, from what is paradise built? He said, bricks of gold and silver and mortar of fragrant musk. Mortar is cement. That is in Ahmad and Tirmidhi. And as you can see, that pavement is all gold, solid gold. Okay? Now when you go in through that gate, you will see that there are 7 Jannahs. 7 Jannahs. And you will enter through whichever Jannah according to how brilliant your deeds were. The bigger your deeds, the higher the Jannah you will enter. Okay? Who can tell me the name of the bottom Jannah? Anybody? Who knows the lowest one? No? Jannatul Mawa is the lowest Jannah. Okay? What is the middle one? The middle one, I'll give you a clue, is where Adam and Eve were before they came down. The Gardens of Eden, you must have heard of the Gardens of Eden. Yes? That is the middle Jannah, Jannatul Aden, which is Eden in English. What's the highest one? I bet you all know that one. Come on. Yeah, you know all that one.
That's why we forget the lower ones.
Yeah, I know, but come on, let's be realistic. Let's be realistic here. Jannatul Firdaus is the highest
Highest one.
Jannah. Okay? And let's look at the ones in between. We have got Darul Salam, Darul Khuld, Jannatul Naeem, which is in the Quran,
Yeah.
Jannatul Qasif. And I can tell you all the surahs in the Quran where these are mentioned. So Jannatul Mawa is the garden of refuge, and that is in chapter 53, verse 15. And then we got the gardens of Eden, which is the gardens of everlasting bliss. Chapter 3, verse 72, chapter 13, verse 23. Jannatul Firdaus, the highest one, is chapter 18, verse 107, chapter 23, verse 11. Then we've got Darul Salam, which is the abode of peace. We've got Darul Khuld. We've got Jannatul Naeem, again the gardens of delight mentioned in chapter 5, verse 65, chapter 10, verse 9, chapter 22, verse 56, and then Jannatul Qasif as well. So it's absolutely amazing. We've given so much description of Jannah. And did you know that each of those levels, there are 100 grades between each level? Can you imagine? So when you enter, say you enter Jannatul Mawa, you will be in one of those 100 grades, depending again on your deeds. That will give you an idea on just how big Jannah is. So let's have a look. Okay, so the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said paradise has 100 grades, and the distance between each of the two grades is like the distance between the sky and the earth. So when you ask Allah, ask for Jannatul Firdaus, for it is the best and highest part of paradise. So for example, what is the highest 100th grade of Al-Firdaus? Do you know?
It's just underneath the throne. but
Yes, and what is it? Do you know what it's called? Because we have covered this
that
before.
tree thing.
Yep, what is that region called? Illiyun. Illiyun. Okay? And like that, in the bottom one, there's 100 grades. Very, very interesting. So did you know that the dwellers of Jannah will see the upper abodes of Jannah as you see stars in the sky? So you know, like we see the sky now, that is one grade of that, one of the 100 grades within the bit that you're in. Do you get it? Very, very complicated. Okay? What else have we been told? Did you know that each grade is 100 years walking distance, and that's according to this earth? Okay, that time I'm giving you is according to this earth's time. And then the life of this world compared to the hereafter. How did Prophet Muhammad ﷺ describe that? He said that if you put your finger in the water, okay, and you take it out, what remains on this finger is the earth, and the rest of that is the whole of Jannah. Amazed, yes? So that finger you dip in, the little bit on there is like earth, and all the whole ocean is like Jannah. Okay? That is how it was described by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jannah is a place where there are things an eye has never seen, an ear has never heard, and a mind can never even imagine. And did you know that the way Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam described it was, it's like an unborn baby. It's like describing the world to an unborn baby who is in his mother's womb, trying to tell him what the world's like. So there is no way that we can imagine anything what it will be like. Narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, Allah said, I have prepared for my righteous slaves such excellent things. Okay? That is in Bukhari. Now when you go in, what is the first thing that you are going to notice when you go into Jannah? You've just entered through the gate, by the way. You've just noticed the floors made out of gold. What else will you notice when you go in? Can you put your hand up? There's too many people shouting out. Yes. What's the first thing you're going to notice? Pardon?
How green everything.
Right. Not just that, even before that. What you will notice is the colours of Jannah are going to be different to here. Your eyes are going to be made differently. Okay? So, The spectrum of colors that you get in this dunya will not exist. Does anybody know why? What makes up the spectrum of colors in this dunya?
Light.
What kind of light?
Sun.
Sunlight. Is there going to be a sun in Jannah? No. Remember, on the day of judgment, the sun got broken down and the moon smashed up. That's a lecture that I haven't done yet recently, so I will be doing that inshallah after Ramadan, the day of judgment. The sun and the moon gets completely destroyed, so because of that, there will be no colors of the sun here in Jannah. Did you know that the light in Jannah will be from the throne of Allah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's light will descend down all the 700 grades of Jannah, all the way down. Okay? In Jannah, there is no sun and moon, there is no day or night, but there will no morning and evening from a light that shines from the direction of the throne. That is in Majmu Fatawa Shaykh al-Islam, chapter 4, verse 312. What is the first thing that you will see when you go into Jannah? Any ideas? So the first thing you've noticed is the beautiful colors and things. Now what's the next thing? Any ideas? Yes?
God?
No, not yet. That will come at the end. What is the very first thing you might see when you enter Jannah? Yes? Nobody knows. Okay. It is actually
The garden.
the garden. Okay? You will see huge gardens, lush gardens, green gardens, and they will have a length of 100 years. 100 years. Can you believe that? So be quick in the race for forgiveness from your Lord and for a garden whose width is that of the whole of the heavens and of the earth, prepared for the righteous. And that is Quran, Surah Imran, chapter 3, verse 133. Okay, so beautiful, huge gardens. It will take 100 years to cross those gardens. But remember, the timeline of Jannah is different to the timeline of here. So it says 100 years, but that might be Jannah 100 years, and it might be just a small amount here. But we know that they will be absolutely huge. We also know that there will be shadows of these gardens will be very, very dense. So there will be shadows. Don't forget that Islam came in a region where it was desert and really hot and dry, and people plant trees to make shade. So it's very, very important to the Muslims that there is shade. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually attracted all the Muslims to try and get to Jannah where there will be shade. So in Surah Nisa, which is chapter 4, verse 57, the woman, it says, and we shall make them enter plenteous shade. Okay? What do you think the weather is going to be like in Jannah? Yes? Jannah is heaven. And we already said heaven is going to be full of light. What kind of weather will there be in Jannah? Come on, everybody, put your hands up. Yes?
Nice and sunny.
Lovely and sunny and beautiful. Just right. Not too hot and not too cold. Okay? So here we go. They will see there neither the excessive heat of the sun nor the excessive bitter cold. And that is in Surah Al-Insan, which is Man, chapter 76, verse 13. So, and did you know that the warmth of Allah's light, His nur, will warm up all of the 700 grades of Jannah? Okay? Because in each level there are 100 grades. So, did you know that also there will be no dust either in Jannah? The atmosphere will be absolutely beautiful. So there will be no dust, we will get no black things in our noses, no sneezing, and also no bacteria, okay? And there will be absolutely no bacteria either. It will be absolutely beautiful, crisp, clean air, okay? And then, what is the next thing that you will see after you have seen the green gardens? What do you think will be the next thing that you will see?
Rivers.
Rivers, good. Again, Islam came in a region where there was absolutely no water in Arabia. There was absolutely no water in Arabia. So, again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has attracted the people, the Muslims, that look, there will be so much water. And here is our beautiful, beautiful water. And the way it is explained in the Quran, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, it is written that indeed they who have believed and do good works are the best of creatures. Their reward is with their Lord, gardens of Eden, under which rivers flow, wherein they dwell forever. That is Surah Al-Bayyinah in the Quran, the clear proofs. That's chapter 98, verses 7 to 8. So what does that mean, under which rivers flow? What does that give you the illusion of? Under which rivers flow.
So the rivers are obviously underneath.
And what does that give you the illusion of where you will be?
High up.
High up, on a big height. Okay? It gives you the idea that you will be up on a big height, and under you the rivers will flow. Okay? Absolutely amazing. And did you know that the bit about the rivers flowing underneath, Takhte al-Anharu, is in the Quran hundreds and hundreds of times, in many, many ayahs. Nearly each and every chapter of the Quran, you will see that. You will see that verse. Okay? And we've also been told that the garden is made for our entertainment. So there you go. Look at her dancing around, playing. You will never ever get bored in Jannah, ever. So as to those who believe and work righteous deeds, they have for their entertainment the gardens of paradise. That is Quran Surah Al-Kahf, the cave, chapter 18, verse 107. Okay, you will never get bored, children. Look at you, you all get bored so quickly, don't you? Your mums tell me. You will never get bored in Jannah. And did you know that because Jannah is so big, everything will be so big there in relation to the size of the Jannah? It will be in proportion to it. So if Jannah's huge and the gardens are 100 years long, obviously everything in it is going to be in proportion to that, isn't it? It's going to be much, much bigger. Okay? So you have now gone into your beautiful garden, and now you have seen your rivers, beautiful rivers in there, okay, flowing underneath because you're on a height. What is the next thing that you will see in your garden? What is the main thing that you will see in your garden? Next, what do you see when you go to the park?
Trees.
Trees. Good, well done. Excellent answer. Trees. Again, in Islam, in Arabia, when Islam came, there were no trees. Look at the desert. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to attract all the Muslims. Okay? So beautiful trees. Did you know those trees, they will all be planted by us. They will all be planted by us. Because each time we do dhikr, a tree is planted in our garden. So each time we say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha, Allahu Akbar. Each time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala plants a tree for us in our garden. And this is why whenever we try and do salah, when we do our fard, we do our tasbih, don't we? And this is the reason why we should try and do it more. Okay? So narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet ﷺ said, there is a tree in paradise so huge that if a rider travels in its shade for 100 years, he should not be able to cross it. And that is actually recorded in Sahih Bukhari. Can anybody look at this tree and tell me what interesting they can see on that tree?
Allah.
Good, well done. There's a Allah there, okay? Not only that, there's a Allah there on the trunk, but it also actually does say Allah with the trunk as well. Obviously, I've not been up there, but I've chosen the best tree that I could. Did you know that also the leaves of the trees will be as big as elephant ears? Okay? Now, there is one very, very huge tree in Jannah where the roots start from the first Jannah and the top of the tree ends just below Allah's arsh, which is the throne. Who can tell me what the name of that tree is? Anybody? Your clue is my name.
Muntaha.
Muntaha is the name of the tree, or is there another bit at the beginning?
Sidratul Muntaha.
Good. Sidratul Muntaha. That's who I'm named, and my son's name is Muntaha. Okay? So that tree is the tree of utmost beauty. And did you know that when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went up there, he actually saw colors changing while he was looking at the tree? And he found it absolutely amazing. And he came back and he told us all about it. Okay? So, he also said, I saw 4 rivers flowing out from beneath Sidratul Muntaha, 2 visible and 2 hidden. I asked, O Jibreel, what are these rivers? He said the 2 hidden rivers are rivers of paradise, and the 2 visible rivers are the Nile and the Euphrates. Sihan and Jihan is the Euphrates and the Nile. And they are all from the rivers of paradise, and that is actually documented in Sahih Muslim. So those rivers, the Nile and the Euphrates in here on earth, did you know that is a tiny little stream from the actual rivers which flow from under the beautiful tree Sidratul Muntaha? Isn't that absolutely amazing? And did you know that the Euphrates River is actually in the Bible as well? And there's so many talks of trying to invade that land, because maybe there's something other religions know. But we already know it's holy because it's in our books. Okay? What do you think the trunks of those trees will be made out of?
Gold.
Gold, good. Not chocolate? I've done this lecture before and someone came up with chocolate and we couldn't stop laughing. It is actually gold. Well done. So there is no tree in paradise that does not have a trunk made out of gold, and that is in Tirmidhi. Also, the pebbles, some of the pebbles in this picture are made out of pearl, and the pearl will be like see-through pearl, very clear like crystal. What else are you going to see in your garden apart from trees? What else do you have in your gardens?
Flowers.
Flowers, good, flowers. Nasrin likes a lot of gardening, don't you? You've got beautiful flowers in your garden, mashallah. So, did you know the flowers will be thornless? They will not be prickly, and they will also have beautiful stems made out of solid gold and silver. Isn't that lovely? I love that flower. I wish I could have one of those now. Okay? And the aroma of those flowers will be so, so beautiful that it will spread throughout all the 700 grades of Jannah. And do you think we're going to suffer from hay fever?
No.
No, there is no pollen in those flowers. There will be no hay fever. There's only butterflies coming out of that beautiful flower. No hay fever at all. And did you know that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came back and he also told us that the lights are going to be made out of pearl. Beautiful lights. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I entered paradise where I saw lights of pearl, and its soil is a fine white powder of pure musk. That is in Sahih Bukhari, Muslim and Ahmed. So we know that for sure. Also, if you look at the soil, there will be so many beautiful pebbles made out of pearls, sapphires, rubies, and the sand will be made out of saffron. What is saffron?
Saffron.
Saffron, well done. Do you use that in your cooking?
Too expensive.
It's too expensive, but can you believe it's so expensive, but in paradise it will just be sand. Think of the deserts of Arabia, how much sand there is. Also, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, the Messenger of Allah said its pebbles are pearls, sapphires and rubies. Its chips will be made out of pearls. Its earth and cement will be made out of musk. Okay? And then, what are you going to see next? You've seen your garden, you've seen the trees and the flowers, and you've seen the earth and it's lovely. What are you going to see in the distance?
Fruits.
We've done rivers already.
Fruit.
Fruit, not yet. We haven't got to our dining table yet.
Mountains.
No. What are you going to go and see now next in Jannah? Yes?
Animals.
No. What has Allah built for you up there?
Houses.
Houses.
Houses. Have you forgotten your house in Jannah? Your house is up for sale now. Did you know in Jannah? This is my sale board. House for sale. Name of house is palace. Location is Jannah, paradise. Number of doors is 8. The key to your house is the Shahada. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. The type of construction, it will be made out of gold, silver and pearls. The decor will be precious stones. The space, like the width of the sky and the earth. You know the price? Only 5 pillars. That's all you need to get in. Date to move in is the Day of Judgment, and it's a special offer to all the righteous people. Would you like to go?
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
go.
Why will it have 8 doors?
8 doors. We've
8.
already covered that bit at the beginning when we talked about the 8 gates that lead inside to paradise. Okay? And do you want to see what your house is going to look like? There's going to be so many different kinds of houses. The first thing we have been told is that your house will be under which rivers flow, to dwell therein, and beautiful mansions in gardens of everlasting bliss. That is in Surah Tawbah, chapter 9, verse 72. Can you see those houses are on top of rivers and the rivers are flowing underneath? So you will be on a big height, on a beautiful height. And did you know that your mansion is going to be glowing like the sun shines in this dunya when you see it? And you will know straight away that that is your house. Did you know that you will know your house up in Jannah better than you know your own house in this dunya? You will know straight away where it is and where you have to go. And I just find that absolutely fascinating. Your house will be as beautiful your deeds are. So the more good deeds you do, the more glitzier and more higher up the Jannahs your house will be. So I'm going to describe some of the houses. This one is actually made out of crystal and see-through pearl. And the Prophet Muhammad said everybody will recognize his dwelling in paradise better than he recognizes his dwelling in this world. That's in Bukhari, volume 3, book 43, hadith 620. And like I said, the higher you go up, the glitzier and shinier your house is, and that really attracts me because I love my glitz. So which kind of house is given to somebody who loves everybody for the sake of Allah? So for example, there are a lot of sisters here who I know love me for the sake of Allah. They will be given a pillar of a certain material from which they will make a beautiful house. What is that pillar of what? It's a pillar of what? Have a look at that picture. Look at the color and then you'll know, yes.
Ruby.
Ruby, well done, well done. Do you know what the name is in Arabic, anybody, for ruby? Yaqut. You will get a pillar of Yaqut from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and with that pillar of Yaqut, you will make a beautiful ruby house. And that one has even got a ruby bridge as well. And wow, look at all those pebbles, aren't they gorgeous looking? You will have turquoise stones. Turquoise is another very, very expensive stone in this dunya. And have you noticed that all the Middle Eastern lands like Iraq and Turkey, they have turquoise stone. It's called the Firoza in Urdu or Punjabi or even Bengali. I think it's called Firoza stone. Yes, you're nodding, so it must be. And that is also another stone that you will find. I'm going to tell you a most beautiful story. One of my friends, she was about to become a Muslim. She was an English lady, and she was learning about Islam. And one day she had a dream, and she was up somewhere in a beautiful garden, and she was collecting golf-sized turquoise stones. Okay? And what happened with her was, when she woke up from her dream, her next door neighbor said, I'm going to take you to a lecture today, which is on Jannah, and I want you to come with me, because she thought that would excite her and maybe help her to become Muslim. So she went to the lecture, and you know what the Sheikh said in that lecture? That when you go up to Jannah, there will be golf-sized turquoise stones there. So what do you think happened to that lady?
She went to a girl, she found it.
No, what do you think happened to that English lady who was about to become Muslim? Shall we have you? She turned Muslim straight away. If you have a dream that you're collecting Gulf-side turquoise stones and then you go to a lecture and the sheikh tells you about Jannah, are you not going to become Muslim straight away? This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this to her to make her Muslim. Okay? Now there are other types of people who will get special houses better than the other houses. And those are people who help to build a mosque in this dunya. Okay? So, whoever builds a mosque in which the name of Allah is mentioned, Allah will build a house for him in paradise. And that is Sunnah Ibn Majah, Volume 1, Hadith number 735. Okay? And that is a beautiful house. Look at that house. Wow. Okay, that is one kind of person, again, that will get a beautiful house. Who will get the most beautiful house? What kind of person will get the most beautiful house ever?
Shaheed.
The shaheeds, the martyrs. Okay, good. And they will get a house that will be in one of the highest jannahs, on a very, very big height, shining like a sun, just like in that picture. Narrated Sumara, the Prophet Muhammad said, last night 2 men came to me in a dream and made me ascend a tree, and then admitted me into a better and superior house, better of which I've never seen. One of them said, this house is the house of the martyrs. And that is book 52, number 49. As well as houses, there will be other kinds of buildings in paradise. And I'm going to ask the men in this audience to answer that one because it is to do with you. Apart from houses, what else will there be there built, especially for the men?
Tent.
Tents, good. I'm glad you got that one. Okay, so there will be special tents made and they will be lining the perfumed riverbanks. And in the garden, the believer will have a tent made out of single hollow pearl, whose width will be 60 miles. The believer will have wives in it, and he will go to each of them without any of them seeing each other. Narrated by Abu Bakr. That's Muslim, Volume 4, Sahih Muslim, Volume 4, number 2838. And in those tents will be special women called hurs, which will be made especially just for Jannah. Okay? And there will be women limiting their glances, untouched before them by man or jinn. Basically, they will be virgins. We will be talking a little bit about hurs later on. We will be talking about them in detail. Now, in your houses, are you going to be living with your families, do you think?
Yeah.
Yes. All your family? No, only the pious ones. So do you remember my life in the Barzak lecture where I said that your pious family come to collect you when you die? Okay, and you might ask them, where's Auntie Bilkis? Yeah? And those people there, your lovely relatives will say, well, she's not here. Well, obviously she's gone to hellfire then. So obviously she won't be with these people then, will she? Okay? So, you will be with your families. And those who believed and whose descendants follow them in faith, we will join them, their descendants, and we will not deprive them of anything of their deeds. Every person for what he earned is retained. And that is Surah At-Tur, chapter 52, 21. What about your friends? And I'm going to ask Nasrin this because when I first met Nasrin, she made me cry. She really did. What was it you said? Can you remember?
I said you have to make friends with pious people because they're the ones that can pull you into Jannah.
Yes.
You're a very close friend to them.
And you wanted to be my friend, and you said to me, I want to be your friend because of that. Isn't that lovely? So, and I still remember that, and it makes me cry. But the difference is she'll get to Jannah and she'll have to call me up probably. Okay? So people will be united with the people they loved in this dunya. And a friend in deen is a friend indeed. You like that, don't you? Yes? A friend in deen is a friend indeed. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, that this is what will happen. If you don't find me in Jannah, then ask about me. Surely the people of Jannah, when they enter and they don't find those companions of theirs who were with them upon good in this world, they will intercede for them in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will say, "Oh Rabb, we have brothers and sisters who used to read Salah and fast with us, and we do not see them." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, "Go to the fire and take out any person who had even an atom's amount of iman in their heart." So if you get up there and you think, "Gosh, where's Mrs. Naeem? We want her to give us lectures here." Then you go up to Allah and you ask, and inshallah He'll bring me up from wherever I am, and then I can give you lectures there. And I can say to you, "See, I told you all about paradise, and it's all true." Okay? And Hassan al-Basri, he said, have lots of believing friends. These are Nasrin's words. Have lots of believing friends, because they will be able to intercede for you on the day of Qiyamah. If you don't find me in Jannah, then please ask about me. And that is Sahih al-Bukhari 7704. So, are you ready to go in your house to have a look what it's going to look like? Yes, I'm excited. Let's get in then and have a look. What can we find? So first of all, the houses will be very, very high and big. Okay, but we are going to go through each thing one step at a time. So it says, "And it's not your wealth or your children that will bring you nearer to us, but he who believes and does good, he draws near. As for such, theirs will be twofold reward for what they did, and they will reside in the high mansions in peace and security." That is in Quran Surah Saba, chapter 34, verse 37. So they will be very, very high. Can you see there's rivers flowing underneath that house? So that will show how high your house will be. And when you go in, you will notice that the ceilings will be really high. Even nowadays, when we look for a house, we look for Victorian style houses that have got high ceilings. Look how high that ceiling is. So those who have taqwa of their Lord will have high ceilinged halls. That is in Surah Zumar, the troops, chapter 39, verse 20. And notice it says halls, not even rooms, halls, because it will exactly be halls. So let's open up our curtain and have a look at our hallway. It's a palace in itself, okay? So very, very large halls. And then did you know that all those large halls will be stacked on top of each other? So if we look at this picture, there are halls coming out of everywhere. And look at that one overlooking the water. Again, rivers are flowing under that house, aren't they? So, but those who keep their duty to their Lord, for them are lofty halls with lofty halls above them, built beneath which rivers flow. It's a promise of Allah. Allah fails not His promise. That is Quran Surah Az-Zumar, the troops, chapter 39, verse 20. So let us now have a look at the rooms. Now these rooms remind me exactly of Hazrat Solomon al-Islam's story. You know, in his palaces, when he invited Bilqis to his palace, she thought that there was water on the floor, and she lifted up her skirt to step over it, but it was actually glass, and the water was underneath. And we know he had a very privileged palace. So these pictures here actually remind me of that, where the water is underneath the rooms. Can you see? How many rooms do you think we will have in paradise? Any ideas? 30? No, that's too low. Yes?
500.
That's too low.
70,000.
70,000, he jumped right there at the top. Okay, 70,000 is the rooms, how many rooms you will have in your house, at least, okay? And all the rooms will be built all on top of one another, okay? Now we're going to open the door and we're going to go in, okay? We're going to go into the room, and there will be a dining table waiting for us, okay? And the dining table will have 70,000 dining sheets on it, with 70,000 types of food. will be served. And for their service, around them will be 80,000 boys of eternal youth. And if you see them, you will think they're scattered pearls. So they will be served by mortal boys with cups and jugs and a glass from the flowing wine. That is in Surah Waqia, chapter 56, verse 17 to 18. And the wine, it will not make you drowsy or intoxicated or give you headaches or hangover or vomiting. We will talk about the wine later. But also, when you look on that dining table, your utensils will actually be made out of gold. Okay, and that is in Sahih Bukhari. And the gold, we in this dunya are not allowed to use gold cutlery or gold plates or gold goblets. The reason is we're not allowed to be extravagant. But also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is keeping all of that for us in Jannah. He is keeping all of those extravagant things for us in Jannah. And if we refrain from it in this dunya, inshallah we will get it in the next dunya. Okay? And also, amongst the utensils, goblets are mentioned. Goblets made out of gold, encrusted with jewels. And that is in Quran Surah Zukhruf, chapter 43:71. The whole chapter is actually named ornaments of gold. Can you believe it? The whole chapter is called ornaments of gold. So there they shall be served with golden dishes and golden goblets, and they shall have everything their souls can desire, and all their eyes can delight in. Do you know, I want to go there now. What will be your first meal in paradise? What will be the first starter that those pearly servants will serve you? Shall we have you this time?
Dates?
No, not dates. Are you looking at the picture? No. The clue's in the picture. If it was dates, why wouldn't have dates up there? Yes.
Is it well living?
It is well liver, good girl. Excellent. There is our well liver. And the well is not going to be like the well here, is it? So it's cordate, extra lobe of well liver. That is in Bukhari, chapter 8, 76, 5 to 7, and Muslim, chapter 39, 6, 7, 1, 0. Some of you children are saying, ugh. But everything in paradise is going to taste beautiful. So it won't taste nothing like the stuff in this dunya. So it will be roasted as well, especially for you. That will be your starter. What will be your main meal? Does anybody know? Your main meal will be buffalo meat. But it will not taste anything like the buffalo you get here. Okay? So you will have starters, liver, well liver. Main course you will have buffalo meat, and then you will be given a drink to drink with it, obviously. So, they shall be served with goblets filled at a fountain of wine, a crystal white drink, delicious to those who drink it, free from headache, nor will they suffer intoxication therefrom. And that is Quran As-Safat, and that is chapter 37, verses 45 to 47, the ranges. And that wine, again, like I said earlier, will not give you any hangover, vomit, or intoxication. Okay? And then there are certain things that the wine will be fragranced with. There are 3 types of things that the wine will be fragranced with. Okay? And now we are going to look at all of those 3 things. They're a bit like mixers. In this dunya, people put mixers inside the wine. Okay? Does anybody know any of those mixers, what they are called in the Quran? Any ideas? No? Ever heard of the tasneem? The tasneem? That's a name, isn't it, as well? There are 3 springs or fountains altogether in Jannah which are used to flavor the drinks from the rivers. They are like mixers which you put in wine. So it says here they'll be given a drink of pure wine, whereon the seal of God will have been set. The seal thereof will be musk, And for this, let those aspire who have aspirations. That wine will be mixed with the sneam, a spring whereof drink those nearest to Allah. And that is Al-Mutaffafin, chapter 83, verse 25 to 28, the defrauders. Okay, so that is one of the mixes. There is one more. Which fountain spring is mentioned by name in the Quran? There is another fountain or spring mentioned in the Quran. Does anybody know what it is called? Anybody? No? Okay, who has heard of Zanjabil? Okay, Zanjabil is ginger, and it comes from a spring called Salsabil. Okay, and they will be given to drink there a cup of wine mixed with Zanjabil, ginger, from a spring there called Salsabil. Look at the way it rhymes. And that is Al-Insan, chapter 76, verses 17 to 18. Okay, and then there is one more. The third fountain is the third fountain is Ghafir. Indeed, the righteous will drink from a cup of wine whose mixture is of Ghafur. Surah Insan, chapter 76, verse 5. What is Ghafur in English? Does anybody want to have a guess what that might be in English? Camphor, good. Camphor is that thing, it's got a minty kind of fragrance, and people normally embalm dead bodies with it to make them more nearer to Jannah when they go up to paradise, so that they mix and mingle in with the musk that's there. So those are the three mixes which are put into the wine to make them smell beautiful. Okay? Now we are going to look at the other kinds of drinks. So there are 4 types of rivers which run in Al-Firdaus right down to the lower levels. And all 4 rivers are mentioned in Surah Muhammad. Who can tell me the very first river that is mentioned in there? Yes?
Zamzam?
Not Zamzam, but water. Okay? I don't know. This is not working again. So, Zamzam is something we get on this dunya. We're talking about paradise. Okay? We are talking about paradise. So, rivers of water never spoiling. That is again in Surah Muhammad. They're all mentioned in there. And one type of this river we already know is in Jannah. Does anybody know what other type of river we talked about earlier, which is made out of water? Anybody? Which is the river which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when his son passed away? Al-Kawthar? Yes? Al-Kawthar. So, we already talked about this river. This river starts from the top Jannah and comes all the way down to under the Sirat bridge. Okay? And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us a lot about this river when he came back to earth. In fact, there is a whole chapter in the Quran called Al-Kawthar. Who knows that surah off by heart? It's the shortest surah in the Quran, and it's actually named Al-Kawthar, abundance. Whilst I was walking in paradise, I saw a river whose banks were domes of hollow pearls, and I asked, "What is this, O Jibreel?" He said, "This is Al-Kawthar, which your Rabb has given to you, and its scent was of fragrant musk." And that is actually Bukhari. Okay, that is actually Bukhari. Okay, what are the rivers? We've done water. What's the next one? Iman? Milk. Good, milk. Well done. Rivers of milk, of which the taste never changes. Even though the weather will be so lovely and it will be warm, the river, it will never change. The taste will never change. It will never go off. Okay? So look at that. Wow. Waterfall full of milk. What's the next one mentioned in Surah Muhammad? Yes, Jordan?
Honey.
Good, honey is one of them. Good boy, honey is one of them. There's one more before them. Can you remember the fourth one? No? Anybody else? Yes?
Wine.
Wine, good girl. I'm really, really pleased with the madrasa children. You are learning so much from me, and it makes me really, really happy when you know more than the adults. And they do know more than the adults, believe it or not. Okay? So the other one is wine. Okay? Sharabun tahura. Sharabun tahura means pure wine. Tahura is from the word tahir, which means pure. No hangover, no intoxication, no headache. Again, if you refrain from it in this dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the wine of Jannah. And it says in Surah Muhammad, and rivers of wine delicious to those who drink. Again, chapter 47, verse 15. And the last one, which Jordan told us about, is honey, isn't it? Here is our big river of honey. Wow. And did you know that honey will be clear, and rivers of honey pure and clear? So the honey will be lovely and clear. What do you think you are now going to have for afters? You have had your whale liver for starters. You have had your buffalo meat for dinner. You've had your wine as your drink with your food. What are you going to have for afters? Yes. What we're going to have for afters?
Dessert.
Yeah, well, what kind of dessert?
Ice cream.
No.
Fruit.
Fruit. Okay? Beautiful fruit. Beautiful fruit. Okay? And we shall bestow on them fruit and meat in abundance, whatever they may desire. That is in Surah Tur, chapter 52, verse 21. The fruits will be hanging in rows. Can you see? All those grapes are hanging in rows. And did you know that the aroma and sweetness will never fade? You know, in this dunya, if we have a banana and we keep it for a couple of days, it goes off, doesn't it? Or apples, they go off after a while. But this fruit will never ever go off, and the fragrance of it will be very, very strong. Let's look at some other things in there. So did you know that a bunch of dates, can you believe it, these are dates? A bunch of dates will be equal to 12 arms, and one date will be equal to one big pitcher. A big pitcher is a great big bowl. Those will be whiter than milk. The dates will be whiter than milk, sweeter than honey, and softer than butter. Imagine that. Grapes will be big. One grape will equal to a big pitcher and sufficient for a whole tribe. There will be no seeds in those grapes. No seeds in any of the fruits. What other fruits will there be in Jannah? What's Mrs. Naeem's favourite fruit? Yes? Pomegranate. Everybody knows here, my favourite fruit is pomegranate. In fact, people give me pomegranates as presents. Did you know? So, one of the fruits of paradise is a pomegranate. In them will be fruits, date palms and pomegranates. That is Surah Ar-Rahman, chapter 55, verse 68. And the next fascinating thing, each time you have that fruit, it will taste different. Did you know? Every bowl will have a new taste. You will eat fruits and fruits continuously for up to 40 years. Eating will be for pleasure only, because you will never ever feel hungry or ever feel any thirst. And if there is a fruit at the top of the tree, then I'll tell you in a minute what will happen. But let's read what this says first, because it's actually written in Surah Baqarah. Every time they will be provided with a fruit therefrom, they will say, this is what we were provided with before. And they will be given things in resemblance, different in taste. And they shall have therein purified spouses, and they will abide therein forever. That is Surah Baqarah, chapter 2, ayah number 25. So it is important to know that you will never ever get bored. You know, now some of you moan, I don't want this. We had this yesterday, Mum. There, even though the fruit might look the same when you taste it, it will taste different. Okay? Now, if you can't reach that fruit from the tree, what do you think might happen? Yes?
An angel might get it for you.
No? Better than that.
Will bend down.
The tree will bend down and give it to you. There you go, have an apple, the tree will say. Amazed? Yes? Its shading branches will droop down over them. Its ripe fruit hanging ready to be picked. That is Surah Al-Insan, chapter 76, 14. Okay? So, there are other hadiths as well telling us all about this. I'm not making it all up. Absolutely amazing. Now, I can hear some of you saying, but we don't like fruit. In Jannah, you can have whatever you like. So look at this picture. Full of sweets, okay? In paradise, you will have whatever your heart desires and what pleases your eyes, so be patient with this world, okay? What else will you have to eat? And it's mentioned in the Quran. Something I have not mentioned yet. What else might you have to eat? And it's mentioned in the Quran. Birds. Okay? Any fruit that they may choose, the flesh of fowls that they desire. That is in Quran Al-Baqiyah, chapter 56, verses 20 to 1, the inevitable. So we know that there will also be birds there as well. Beautiful birds. Okay? And did you know that there is no indigestion in Jannah? Narrated Abu Huraira, radiallahu anhu, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they will neither spit therein, nor blow their noses, nor relieve nature, and their sweat will smell like musk. That is in Bukhari, volume 4, hadith number 3245. They will take a ruction which will digest the food. There will be no stools, no urine, no poo or wee. There will be perfumed sweating only. So the water that you digest will come out as perfumed sweat. And if you burp, the burp will smell of musk as well. Okay? There will be no catarrh in your noses or in your throats, no phlegm, no vomit. Okay? Isn't that amazing? All the bad things will not be there. Okay? What other pleasures will we have? Let's have a look. No work and no just resting. You will never have to work again in your life. Children will never have to study. Everything will be there on a plate for us. So all you will do all day is rest. Okay, on that beautiful sofa. So now let's look at what kinds of sofas and things there will be. There will be reclining on couches, under canopies. What an excellent reward. Okay, and the canopies will be of fruit. So they will sit on those lovely chairs. They will laugh about the conversations they used to have here in the world, laugh about them. Okay, they will remember their former life, and they will be under fruit trees while the servants bring them jeweled goblets of wine and platters of delicacies. Again, like I said, you will not fall hungry in Jannah, but eating food will be entertainment. Something else we have been told in the Quran is that the couches you recline on will be made out of beautiful silk brocade. The fruit of both gardens near to hand, and that means while you're sitting on your brocaded sofa, you will just get your hand behind and you will just go like this and bring the food forward. And if you can't reach it, the tree will come down and give it to you, like I said earlier. Okay? And we've also been told that those thrones will be woven with gold and precious stones. So again, depending on your deeds, some of you will have lovely couches. Some of you will have silk brocade couches. Some of you will have thrones encrusted with gold and precious stones, reclining therein face to face. So you'll be facing all the people that you love when you sit on there. That is mentioned in Quran Al-Waqiyah chapter 56 verses 15 to 16, the inevitable. And your beds are going to be even more grander. Look at the size of that bed. Okay? Did you know that there will be over 70 mattresses on that bed? And it will be soft. And those beds will just be to rest on, because did you know that you do not sleep in Jannah? Sleep is the sister of death. When you sleep, your soul leaves your body and you're dead. Did you know? Until with Allah's hukam, the soul comes back into your body. So did you know that you will not be sleeping in Jannah? You will never get tired. The beds are there just to have a nice, relaxing lay down on. So reclining on rich, beautiful mattresses, Quran Surah Rahman, chapter 55, verse 76, the most merciful. Okay? And did you know that right down to the cushions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned. So it says that the cushions will be set in rows. That is in Al-Ghashiyah, chapter 88, verse 15, the overwhelming. So can you see those cushions set in rows? What color will some of those cushions be? It's mentioned in the Quran. Yes?
Gold.
Not gold. There is a color which is mentioned again and again in the Quran to describe Jannah. Green. Green. Okay? So it is written there, green cushions are specifically mentioned. In fact, the green color is used in paradise a lot to describe it. Khidr is the word in Arabic. So reclining on green cushions, Quran Ar-Rahman 55:76. Okay? All of these things are there to attract the women. Women like their decor, their houses, they like decorating, they like their sofas and their cushions and their fabrics and their diamonds, don't they? Okay? So these things are put in there to attract the women to come to Jannah, and we'll be talking about what is put there to attract the men in a minute. Okay? But let's have a look at some more thrones first of all. They will recline therein on raised thrones. Look how raised that throne is. The person who sits on that throne would have done a lot of good deeds, because it's a very, very high throne, again under which rivers flow. Okay? So they will recline therein on raised thrones. That's Surah Al-Kahf, chapter 18, 31, the cave. And this one's even higher. Look at that one. Okay? And with this one, there are carpets laid out. So carpets are mentioned in the Quran. And rich carpets spread out, Al-Ghashiyah, chapter 88, verse 16, the overwhelming. Can you see beautiful red carpets leading up to a beautiful balcony? And again, where are the rivers flowing? Underneath. So now let's look at the characteristics of the people. Narrated Abu Hurairah, radiyallahu anhu, the people of paradise will have no differences. They will not be rich, poor, white, black, doctor, street sweeper. They will all be the same. That's all just in this dunya, isn't it? Okay? That's in Bukhari, volume number 4, hadith number 3245. Did you know our souls will have no color? There will be no fat and thin, tall or short, or black or white. That is just there for this dunya. We will all be the same. And did you know we will be much bigger than in this dunya? Why is that? Why will we be much, much bigger and taller? Yes?
Because Jannah is known as very big, so we have to be in proportion to that.
Excellent answer, well done. We have to be in proportion to the rest of Jannah, which is huge. So everybody, did you know, will be the same height, and we will be the height of our father Adam alayhi salam, 90 feet high or 60 cubits tall. That is how high and tall you will be. Look at that woman. Is she tall or what? Isn't she? Where does Mrs. Naeem get all these pictures from? You must all wonder sometimes. And did you know that our faces will be shining? radiantly like the moon. More beauty we will have than Yusuf al-Islam. The men will be beardless. Did you know? The men will have no beards. And they will be aged. What age is the age that I've said? That is the age of wisdom for men, and all the prophets were at that age when they were granted prophethood. 40. 40. Good, well done. 40. Okay? Narrated Abu Huraira, radiallahu anhu, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the first group of people who will enter paradise will be glittering like a full moon. That is Bukhari, volume 4, 3245. And the women, they will be also very, very beautiful. They will be hairless. They will have no hair on their bodies. And they will enter paradise at the age of 33, which is the age of strength, vitality and youth for women. There will be no wrinkles, no need for Botox or anti-wrinkle creams, anti-aging creams. Okay, and Marth ibn Jabal related that the Prophet said the people of paradise will enter paradise hairless and beardless, with kohl on their eyes, black eyeliner, age 33 years. That's in Tirmidhi. And Abu Hurairah who said, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and their youth will never fade. They will stay young forever. That is in Tirmidhi and Ahmed. And did you know that they will be eternal? What do we mean by eternal? Yes?
They live forever.
Live forever. So wherein they abide eternally, he will remain there forever and will never die. That is in Ahmed, and it is in Luqman in the Quran, chapter 31, verse 9. They will live forever and never die. And because they will live forever, they will never ever get what? Ill. They will never ever get ill. There will be no disease there. They will be healthy and never sick. They will never be weak. So it says, indeed, may you be healthy and never be sick again. May you live and never die again. May you be young and never grow feeble again. May you enjoy and never feel sorrow and regret again. So you will never be sad in paradise. You will be very, very happy there. Very, very happy. And like I said, there will be no pain, no flu. We will not need no pharmacies or chemists or doctors. Doctors will be out of a job there, basically. No worries, no depression, no mental health. Just joy. And you will never ever be miserable. You will be happy like this young girl. She's happy, dancing away. Whoever enters it is blessed with joy and will never be miserable. That is Ahmed. What do you think the quality of our personalities will be like? What will we be like as people?
Good people.
Good people, of course. The reason is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take the black spot out of our hearts, okay? And it says, and we shall remove from their chests any hatred or sense of injury which they had, if at all, in the life of this world. That's the same as Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The black spot was taken out of his heart and he had a perfect personality, which is why we follow his sunnah. So we will be like him. There will be no jealousy, no hatred, no spitefulness, no miserliness. Our tolerance will be like Yaqub alayhi salam. Our patience will be like Ayub alayhi salam. Our habits will be like who? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because the black spot has been taken out just like his one. Our hearts will be clean and they will be like hearts of gold, full of love. Narrated Abu Huraira, there will be no hatred amongst themselves. Their hearts will be as if one heart. That is Bukhari, volume 4, hadith number 3245. What will our voices be like? Beautiful and sweet. Our voices will be like Dawood alayhi salam. There will be no backbiting, there will be no moaning, there will be no gossip and no lies. Okay, all lovely stuff. In the Quran, in Surah Waqia, it says, where they shall hear neither harmful speech nor falsehood, but only the saying of salam, salam. Okay, that's chapter 56, verses 25 to 26. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Don't you think that's absolutely amazing? So the women have been attracted to Jannah with decor of houses and cushions and jewels and all the glitzy things that women like. What do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has attracted men by telling them about this in Jannah? Any ideas?
Women.
Women, yes. Men like their women, okay? Men like women. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned about beautiful creations that He has made especially for men in Jannah. So we are going to talk about those now. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrated, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, every one of them will have wives. The marrow of the bones of the wives' legs will be seen through the flesh out of excessive beauty. That is in Bukhari, volume 4, 3245. And it also tells you in the Quran, and they shall have therein purified mates. Surah Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 25. So if we are good to our husbands, did you know that Allah will make us more beautiful than the hools? More beautiful than the hools. And it's not just the wives they will also have the maidens of paradise, which is the hools. Okay? So first of all, they will have wives. Some of those wives may be the wives of this dunya, which will be more beautiful than the hools. But they will also, on top of that, have hools, other hools as well, up to 70,000, according to the deeds that they do. The more good deeds they do, the more hools they will have. So hools are a special creation which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made just for Jannah. And it says here in the Quran, and there will be hools, fair females with wide, lovely, dark eyes, as wives for the pious, like preserved pearls. Quran Surah Waqia, that's chapter 56, verses 22 to 23, the inevitable. So, did you know that men will be married to at least 2 hools? They will be full-chested, wide-eyed, and the whiteness of their eyes will be really big. And one little finger, if it comes down on earth, it will light up the whole earth like a sun. Okay? And they will also have long hair as well. Long hair. Okay, what about the women? Whether you are married or not in this dunya, you will definitely be married in the next dunya. And we do not know, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has talked about women for the men to try and attract them to paradise. But for the women, they may also be male who type figures with big eyes as well. But we don't know that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instead has attracted us with the houses and the jewels and things, which for me, to be quite honest, is good enough. So Mu'adh Ibn Jabal reported that the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said there will be virgins and they will have no menstruation, no cycles. That's in Ahmad and Tirmidhi. And if one of the women of paradise looked at the earth, she will fill the whole space between them, the earth and the heavens, with light, and will fill whatever is in it between them with perfume. And the veil of her face is better than the whole world and whatever is in it. That is actually in Bukhari. Okay? So what kinds of clothes will the people be wearing? So in Surah Al-Insan, there are 2 types of silks mentioned that the inhabitants of Jannah will wear, garments of. Can you please, does anybody know what those 2 silks are called? They are in the Quran. No, nobody knows? This is actually a name of a woman. Sundus is one of them. Upon the inhabitants will be green garments of fine silk. Sundus, that is in Surah Al-Insan, chapter 76, verse 21. The fine silk will be delicate, weightless, so fine that the heart will be visible and the waves of the love in hearts will be visible. Okay? And can you see that the bone marrow of that girl can be seen under that fine silk? Okay? Also, the thick silk. There is a thick silk as well. Does anybody know what the thick silk is called? No? It is in the Quran. It is istabrak. Istabrak is the thick silk. Upon those blessed will be garments of green silk and brocade. Quran, Surah Al-Insan, chapter 76, verse 21. And men in this dunya cannot wear silk. They're not allowed to wear silk. The reason is they have to be humble. And in the next dunya they will get silk, and in the next dunya they don't need to be humble because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them all the grandeur they need. Did you know that you will wear 70 dresses at a time? They will never become old or dirty or tear, and each time you wear them they will have a different color. And will you go and buy your clothes from Primark? Where are you going to get your clothes from? Tree. That is just amazing. I find this the most amazing fact actually. Those garments, your green silk kurta, is going to come out of the tree in your garden. Here it is. It's going to grow out of its calices, the buds. Prophet Muhammad said, Tuba is a tree in paradise as big as 100 years' journey. The clothes of the people of paradise come from its calices, the outer parts of its flowers. That is in Hadith al-Silsilah. Okay, so it actually comes out from the flower bud. Green silk embroidered with gold kurtas, garments. Okay? And women, you will never have to iron ever again. Or sew ever again. You're getting all happy. Never have to iron or sew ever again because your clothes will never wear out or tear, and they will never need ironing. They will come out of that tree already ironed. Okay? Already ironed. His clothes will never wear out. That's Ahmed and lots of other hadiths as well. And what kind of jewelry do you think you'll be wearing? Which jewelry are you not allowed to wear at the moment in this dunya? Yes?
Gold.
Gold, good. But in there, will you be able to? Yes. Okay, so this is why they will be adorned with gold bracelets and pearls. That's in Quran, Surah Hajj. And their combs will even be made out of gold. Some of those ladies are going to have lovely long hair because they're going to be more beautiful than the hoods. They will have long hair, they will need gold combs. Okay? And also, their utensils, their ornaments will be made out of gold. The coals of the incense burners will be of aloe wood as well. That is in Bukhari. Okay? And there are so many lots of other beautiful things. In Jannah, there is a market to which the people will come every Friday. The northern wind will blow and shower fragrance on their faces and clothes, and consequently, it will enhance their beauty and loveliness. They'll then return to their wives, who will also have increased in their beauty and loveliness. That is in Muslim. Who would they have seen at that market that would have made them look so lovely? Who would they have seen there? No. Who would they have seen in that market? What was the first thing you said that you will see when you get to Jannah? And I said, not yet. It will come later. Allah. You said it to me. You're going to see Allah. And I said, not yet, later. Didn't I? This is later. By the end of the week, you would have seen Allah. The northern wind would have blown and you would have seen the moon. That is just amazing, isn't it? So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best thing in Jannah. It says in the Quran that there are so many things that you will love. But you know what the best thing will be is that you will see the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala up in Jannah. Okay? We will not be reading Salah or doing any of the 5 pillars because those are the things that you will be doing on this dunya. Okay? In order to get to paradise. But what you will be doing is you will be glorifying Allah in the morning and in the evening. That was narrated by Abu Huraira. That's in Bukhari, volume 4, hadith number 3245. Some people are already in Jannah. We have already mentioned this actually in our Life in the Barzakh lecture. The martyrs, for example, are already up there in the form of green birds. Okay? And we know that a believer's soul is turned into a bird that eats from the trees of Jannah. And that is also in so many hadiths. They have not been killed, it tells you in the Quran, as they are alive with their Lord, receiving provision. That is in Quran Imran. Who else is up in Jannah now? Who else did Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam see up there? No. Who else did he see up there? A whole load of children, yes, around the tree. The prophets are flitting to and fro the barzakh, but they're not there permanently yet. They are flitting to and fro from their graves though, but permanently there are children already there who are in the state of fitra, which means they're sinless. They died during miscarriages before 5 months, which is before the soul goes in the baby, or maybe stillborn babies as well. Okay?
And the
Yes, shaheeds are mentioned already in the form of green birds, didn't I? Yeah, in the slide before. So we know all this because did you know that when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went up there and he did the mirage, he saw them there. He said, we proceeded until we came upon a garden dense with plantation, with all sorts of spring flowers, and with a very large tree in its center. Near the stem of the tree there stood a very tall man, so tall I could barely see his head in the sky. Around him was the greatest number of children that I have ever seen. I said, who is this and who are these? They said, come on, come on. That is Bukhari 1270. Okay? Now who was that man with those children? Ibrahim alayhi salam. As for the tall man you saw in the garden, he is Ibrahim. The children about him are all those children who have died according to fitra. Fitra means sinless, without sin. Bukhari 1270. They are the ones who will go in through the gate of Amen on the Day of Judgment. And did you know the ladies will not ever have any menstruation cycles, they will never have to give any childbirth or no postnatal bleeding. If anyone wants a baby, straight away it will be conceived and it will grow up in front of your eyes. So a lot of the mums won't have to go through all the stress we go through bringing up all you little kids, okay, upsetting us all the time. They will grow on the spot. What kinds of animals will there be in Jannah? We're trying to finish off now. Yes. What kinds of animals do you think there will be in Jannah?
Horses?
Horses? Do you mean Burak, the horse type
Burak.
horses?
Yeah.
Yes? Good. I like that answer. Burak came from Jannah. The horse which took Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam up. He came from Jannah with the big wings. So we know there will be fantastic creatures like that. Especially made for Jannah. Okay? What else will you find in Jannah? What other animals? Yes. Pardon?
Birds.
Birds, yes. Beautiful birds. My favorite animal is a peacock. Look at that peacock. How beautiful is that? I want one right now. Okay? And lots of other birds. We know that because we will be eating them. What else will we be eating and we know that they will be there?
Duck.
Duck was nothing that I mentioned, was it?
Buffalo.
The whale. We mentioned the whale, didn't we? Here we go. There's our beautiful whales. Look at that beautiful waterfall. Okay? And this is a dua for Jannah. Okay? Oh Allah, I ask you to grant me paradise and I take refuge in you from the fire. So we should all try and make that dua. And the last slide, I'm going to have a video and then we will have questions from everybody.
The final home is eternal. There is no aging, there is no death. There ends our journey. Allah sent us on the earth on a test program. Those who passed his test enter paradise, and those who did not pass the test enter hell. It is impossible to find out what it will really look like in paradise or hell. The Holy Quran describes the contents of paradise and hell in a metaphorical language, a symbolic language. The dimensions and characteristics of the eternal home are described to us in the earth language to make us sense what it will be like. The subjects are depicted by earthly subjects known to us and which bear similarities. Righteous people will be near Allah, but they will never be equal to Allah. This is not a cycle of evolution. Human life has a sequence of events prescribed by Allah. The dimensions of paradise and hell are highly magnified and enhanced. The eternal home may be bigger than the entire universe. As per Hadith in Sahih Muslim, there is a tree in paradise. To cross the shade of the tree, it may take more than 100 years. It has been written in Hadith that when a person is entering paradise, a beautiful woman with large eyes will greet and welcome him by shaking hands with him. If one of her fingers is shown on the earth dimensions, it will shine like the sun. If her hair is shown on earth, it will cover the east and the west. The Holy Quran describes paradise as a home of peace, security, with no death, no fatigue. The gardens of eternity will have rivers flowing. The people of paradise will be reclining on thrones of dignity with their associates under the cool shades. Beside them will be chaste women. Every fruit will be there for them. They will have anything they call for. In paradise, people will meet their relatives who also were righteous. The people of paradise will see angels surrounding the throne of Allah and singing glory and praise to him. There is everlasting bliss. It is written in Hadith that Allah will never be annoyed with the people of paradise. There would be a tent made of a pearl whose height would be 60 miles. The people will live in great mansions with the finest foods. They will eat and drink, but would neither spit, nor pass water, nor void excrement, nor suffer catarrh. The Hadith mentions that the residents of paradise will look to the upper apartment of paradise as you see the planets in the sky. It has also been reported in a Hadith, Sahih Muslim, there will be bounties which the eye has not seen, and the ear has not heard, and no human heart has ever perceived them.
Okay. Now, as you might have noticed, there was a huge amount of hadiths and Quranic quotes there in the whole of that lecture, a huge amount of research done to make that, including all the pictures. But this book here is a very, very good book if you want to do further reading. This is The Final Day, Paradise and Hell in the Light of the Quran and Sunnah. So this book, obviously, if you want to focus on paradise, you will just read the paradise part. It's by Dr. Umar Soliman Al-Asghar, if you want to purchase that. So I thought I'd mention that. And now I'm going to open the floor to questions. So who has got some sensible questions, only to do with the topic today, please, because we could be here forever otherwise. Right.
Before, earlier on in that lecture, you said that they would serve wine. How come they don't serve Zamzam?
Zamzam, I've already explained to you, is in this dunya. I already mentioned that already. That's water in this dunya, okay? There will be new inventions and new things. And I already spoke about the 4 rivers there that you will get there, okay? There will be other things which will be far more superior, far more better, okay? There's different creations to here. Everything in Jannah, you won't even see, not even a drop of that here. It's all completely different. Brand new, more lovelier and more wonderful things. Okay? Right, let's have you next.
When you go to paradise, can you ask, if you ask Allah something, would he give you more?
Yes, because I already did that in the lecture already, didn't I? I said you can have whatever you like in paradise. That was already mentioned in the lecture. You can have whatever you like. It's all there, whatever you want. Remember I talked about the foods, and then I put up a separate slide about the sweets. Because I said some of you are going to say we don't want fruit and we don't want this and we don't want that. And you ask for sweets and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you sweets. Okay? Right, let's have you next.
My question is, if someone believes in Allah, that there's one God, but he doesn't practice 5 pillars of faith, will he enter paradise?
Okay, that is a very important question. Basically, no shirk is allowed at all. Just the complete tawheedness of Allah, the completion of just worshipping the one Allah, only then you will enter paradise. There will be many Muslims who will have, there will be shirk going on, there will be bid'ah going on. Those people will definitely not enter paradise. Okay? Because bid'ah and shirk are the two things that they will not enter paradise in. Okay? Any more questions? Let's have Iman first.
You know when you die and you enter heaven, can you remember your previous life?
Yes, that's another slide I already mentioned, didn't I? When you're in paradise, you will be thinking about things you did here and you will be laughing about them. What silly conversation that was. And weren't we stupid when we did this and when we did this? And we didn't know all this was going to happen. Okay? So, yes, you will remember the things that you talked about in this dunya. You will know that because you will be remembering all of that kind of stuff while you're on your couches. Remember there was a slide we were on our couches and we'll be talking about the dunya here. Some of you have not been listening, by the way, and I'm repeating myself like a parrot because it was all in there if you listen carefully. Right, let's have Seema next.
You know when we were first created and Allah said to us, who is your Lord? And we all said, yes, we will worship you. At that point, did we then ask that we would then have this test that go down to dunya, and then did we ask for that test?
No. The test is completely from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the one who tests us. Whatever trials and terrors we go through, He does that. He is the complete destiny. He writes our destiny. One of the Mani Mufassal is to one of the Mani Mufassals is the belief in predestination and destiny. And we are not Muslims if we do not believe that. We ourselves cannot do anything. But it is a test for us to see, are we going to do this and are we going to do this? Okay? I was put through a big test yesterday, which some of you have phoned up about, didn't I? That was a big enough test for me. Am I going to give up or am I going to carry on for the sake of Allah? What did I do? I carried on for the sake of Allah, and you know what I'm talking about. Okay? Yes. Ash.
Would ladies still have to wear hijab in Jannah?
No, they won't. We know that for sure because when it comes to the description of the hurs and the women, they will all have long flowing hair. And all the things that you did for Allah in this dunya, you didn't drink wine, you didn't wear gold, you wore hijab, you prayed 5 times, you gave charity. You do not have to do that in Jannah because all those things were in this dunya in order for us to get to Jannah. Do you understand? We did all that to get to Jannah. So when we're there, we will not have to do it. We will have long flowing hair. Jordan.
Can Christians go to paradise?
It is completely up to Allah. He will decide. But shirk is definitely not allowed. Okay? So that is one thing that is associating partners with Allah. And that includes actually believing in other pagan festivals or following bits of them as well, because that's again associating other gods with your own one God, Allah. Okay? Let's have Nasrin next, but we will get round.
You mentioned that men will get the test with lots of hurs, so what will women get?
Women don't need men. For us, our excitement is the houses and the jewels and the cushions and the sofas and the fact that we won't need to iron and we won't need to cook. That's, for me, to be quite honest with you, is enough excitement to get there. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us different excitement ways of getting to Jannah, the things that we like, the glitz and the glamour and the diamonds and the pebbles. Men are not interested in glitz and glamour. Women, like our brother here mentioned earlier, like women. So because men like women, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has attracted them with different things. But that does not mean that you will not get a man, because it is written, and I mentioned that in one of the slides, that every woman, single or not, will get married. They will have a spouse in Jannah. It will either be your husband, if you wanted him to be your husband. That's a big if. That's a big if. But I just want to remind you, sister, I just want to remind you, sister, that your husband will not be like he is in this dunya. The black spot will be washed out of his heart, and he will be such a good man. He will be like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? So he will be the best, and you might choose him, or you can choose any other person. It doesn't say, but we can wish for maybe a hur type person who is a male person, who will also have great big eyes. Okay? And did you know everybody in Jannah will have the beauty of Yusuf alayhi salam? So imagine if your husband is as beautiful Yusuf alayhi salam, are you not going to choose him? So, and remember, we can have whoever we like, can't we? Right, shall we have you next?
Will this be applicable to only righteous husband and wife?
Yes, of course. Only the righteous people will get these things.
And they'll meet in Jannah.
Yes, only the righteous people. So if there is a really lovely husband practicing, but the wife is completely not practicing, then in that case the wife won't have all of that, but the man will. Okay? So yes, that was an extremely good question. We'll have Fasila next.
Yeah. You mentioned that the houses are so huge, like there's 70,000 rooms.
Yes, I did, yes.
Why do we need such a big house?
Because we will be bigger, and we will have all our families living with us,
The
and
whole lineage of your
Jannah is big, so it's got to be filled with big things. And we will never get bored with 70,000 rooms, will we? One of the characteristics of Jannah is we will never get bored. We're not going to ever get bored with 70,000 rooms, are we? So these are all things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. And in our minds, it might look like make-believe, but we know it is true because that's actually in the Quran. So we have to believe it. In fact, the belief in Jannah is one of our beliefs in the 7 Imam Mufassirs. It is. Okay? Yes.
Why are there so many levels within the levels?
Yes.
Can someone from a higher level, someone from a lower level visit somebody, like a relative in a higher level?
Yes.
Or do the higher level people need to come down?
No, the lower ones will go to the higher levels. And that I know for sure. And that was one of the slides, wasn't it, where there was somebody in Jannah and she said that I used to know so-and-so and she used to teach us, and where is she? And then Allah will say, go and get them
Is that
out.
just for visiting though? Or do you...
No, they can live with you, because remember, you can have whatever you like in Jannah. So if you ask, I want my friend Nasreen to come up here with me, you live together happily. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? I think you had a question, didn't you? Or have you forgotten?
Would you be taller than like buildings or?
Yes, I already said 90 cubits tall. Adam al-Islam's height we will be, so we will be very big. But Jannah will be huge. We have to be in proportion to Jannah. We will be very big. Good, isn't it? I've always wanted to be taller. Yes.
I'm thinking, all these imaginations in the Quran,
Yes.
for Jannah, it will be more than that. It's just for the human man to have an imagination of what it is.
Yes,
but
correct.
whatever
Yes.
you wish for at that time, you have it more than that.
Yes.
Is that correct? Or?
Yes, correct. They said that in the video. It is just in this earth's language that we are trying to understand it. But seeing is believing. And when we get up there, it's said already, didn't it, in the Hadith, in Sahih Bukhari, that no eye has ever seen and no heart has ever felt and no ear has ever heard, is what you will see up there. So we can describe it as best we can, but it will probably be much, much better than that. It's just something there for us to look forward to, really, and to strive for good deeds to get there, inshallah. And our children as well. We know our children are going to follow whatever we, you know, get them to do. So, okay. Any more questions? No? Okay, then Jazakallah khair. Maybe inshallah all meet in Jannah one day, and pray that I give lectures like this in Jannah, because that would be my dream.